Hi, this is Brian Resney, President of Resney Wealth Management. I'm bringing in an important update about the economy and the investment markets today, as I normally do on Wednesdays, and try to give you some good information that you can use to make sure you better your portfolio and, more importantly, better your retirement with proper risk management. We've had an overwhelming response and comments about a recent article that I've written, the 10 investment mistakes to avoid. If you haven't read this, these 10 mistakes are the most important areas that you want to touch on in your personal portfolio, especially for your retirement. 9 out of 10 investors are probably making 8 of these mistakes. If you can get rid of these mistakes in your portfolio, I believe you will make more money and be a very happy retiree, and more importantly, a happy investor. Read the 10 important investment mistakes to avoid. It's on our website. Go to Investor tab on the top, Investor Resources, and read those. In fact, I would read it 2 or 3 times to make sure you truly understand those mistakes, because if you can avoid them, again, you're going to have a better portfolio. I want to touch a little bit about a recent article that we just had published in Seeking Alpha. As you know, my publications or my articles are published in major websites and newspapers and so forth around the country, and in addition to our radio show that we do every Sunday from 10 to noon. One of the areas that I've talked about is South Korea. I think it's so important today that investors really look at some of the emerging markets. Now, fair disclosure, we do own positions in South Korea. One of the things that I often find, in fact, we had a couple that came into the office yesterday to talk to us about hiring us to manage their wealth after years of really frustration dealing with Wall Street brokerage houses and being sold investments that really were not appropriate, nor was their money being managed. I talked to them about one of the key problems that many retirees face, which is really a lack of change or appropriate change when change is due. And I want to touch about South Korea and the emerging markets for one reason. Many retirees, unfortunately, will get kind of lulled into this complacency of what we call buy and hold, which is really a lack of investment strategy. Often people will eat at restaurants they're familiar with instead of trying a new restaurant that may be much better. Investing is no different. As an investor, there's often investments out there. Just because you haven't heard of that investment doesn't mean it's not a great investment or it's not worthwhile in your portfolio. South Korea, one of the areas that I like is the EWY, which is the symbol for an ETF that tracks basically a broad basket of South Korean stocks. Again, fair disclosure, we do own this in our managed portfolios for our retirees and pre-retiree clients. I stress that look at areas that you are not familiar with. Buying the old stocks in the U.S. stock market that everybody seems to want to buy, the Johnson & Johnsons, the Mercks, the Pfizers, the Microsoft, many of these stocks have gone absolutely nowhere in 10, 12, 15 years. Just because it's a household name doesn't mean it's necessarily a good investment. They may be great companies, but that doesn't mean they're good investments. I believe over the next 3 to 5 years, you will see other areas outside big blue chip stocks that I mentioned earlier that are predominantly in the S&P 500 will be the areas for true growth and opportunity and income opportunity in a retirement portfolio. Again, you don't overload your basket in these, and these would be built on the back end of the portfolio for growth purposes to combat inflation. Yes, I believe we're going to continue to have higher inflation down the road. I don't believe it'll be Jimmy Carter Day inflation, but inflation will probably run between 3 and 5% on average over the next 3 years. I believe that investors that are being too cautious and sticking their money in a mattress and doing absolutely nothing are going to be the true losers in a retirement portfolio, because after taxes and inflation, your money is going to be eaten up. Remember, appropriate change is important. If your money's not being professionally managed, if you're not using a fee-only independent registered investment advisor who's acting as a fiduciary or in your best interest, then bottom line is your money's probably not being managed. The same couple that I had in yesterday, the first thing I asked them is, do you have a written investment strategy that your current broker or so-called advisor is using? And they said, no, we have nothing. That's one of the reasons we came in to see you, is because really we're starting to figure out the person that we thought was managing our money is doing nothing more than a salesman or selling us investment products. And at the end of the day, as you've talked about, Brian, in your videos and on your radio show, we're realizing that our money is not being managed. That's one of the reasons why investors often see 30, 40% declines in their portfolio. That's often why they see bad returns. Bottom line is complacency will get you into trouble. You need to think out of the box. If you're unable to do that, if you're unable to spend the quality time you need to do your own money management and really high quality research every day, then find a real firm that does actual investment management. You want to look for an independent, fee-only, registered investment advisor who, again, is in the money manager capacity. I welcome you to visit our website, ResneyWealth.com. Go to my investor resource tab. We have some great articles in there. You'll educate yourself. You'll be glad you did. And as always, if we can help you with your portfolio, if you're unhappy with the results you're currently getting, call our office. We'd love to sit down with you and get your retirement back on track in a manner that's prudent for you within your goals and objectives. Until Sunday's show, have yourself a very profitable week.